我们来了2个新人，所以我们一开始我们的配合不太好，但我们越打越好了。我的状态的话还行吧，但是我至于挣奶粉钱，我现在做的还远远不够。
That is the most honorable thing I've ever seen here in League of Legends eSport. Good old Daddy Mystic working for his child. Welcome back to the LPL. The father just picked up his first game here in this series, and WE taking on JDG continues in a game 3 that cannot be underestimated. My name's Jayce Penko. I am joined by Mr. Clement Chu, and Clement, it is honorable to see a father hard at work.
Yeah, who says family was a hindrance to your career? Not for Mystic. It actually propels him to go farther. And we just saw him right there saying he needed knife and chin, which is he needed money to buy his baby formula. So he's got a lot of pressure on his back, and he actually admitted that to raise my family right, I'm not doing enough.
Oh, good.
That's a very touching moment for him.
He did enough in that game. Let me tell you, game number 2, Mystic had a big showing. So did Missing as well. That 2v3. Underestimated by JDG.
Oof, that was such a brutal moment coming in from WE's side, and really shows you how much this lane has actually progressed. We were talking about Mystic. He was always a great laner, but this split he's really been taking it to a new high. We saw him plus 30 CSD on average on champions like Kalista, on the Caitlyn. He's been absolutely dominating this lane, and like you were saying, I think Missing is also a big part of it. Finally having a stable lane partner helps your trade so much.
It's more than stable. It was dominant. Missing and Mystic, or rather just Mystic picked up MVP, but if you could join them together, you definitely would in that game number 2. Of course, there he is. 10-1-3 on Vayne. 32%, and we didn't even get to late game.
And it does seem like this is going to be the highlight matchup between the two teams. Kai'Sa is by far JD Gaming's best champion in terms of win rate. They're currently sitting at 8-2 with the champion, and WE with Mystic is coming out with the counter pick. They're saying, you know what, we're going to run the Vayne every single chance we get. The mobility we get to dodge away from things and then turn it around and just chase the Kai'Sa down is unparalleled in this matchup. That's why Vayne is considered as a bit of a counter pick. She wins the solo, and if you don't finish her off with the initial salvo, then she has that Night Hunter passive to really close the distance.
It was so hard for Flawless to get on top of Mystic. Looking back at that play, the Skarner could just not get the Impale off, the ultimate, onto Mystic, and from there it was over in that bottom lane, much like a lot of lanes here for JDG. We've come into playoffs and we've seen 2 very dominant games right off the bat. Quick games, Clement, but dominant in their own right for each team.
Yeah, the winning team has walked away with at least a 3+ kill-to-death ratio. So it's been very one-sided if you're just tuning in here. This is the real start of the BO3 between these two teams. And I think the most important thing for us to really measure in this game is that both sides, when they have figured out which lane was dominant, they were able to snowball off that perfectly. I think this time if JD Gaming goes towards the red side, they're not going to pick for counter compositions. They're going to pick for lane. They're going to pick for lane priority.
We'll see a big change because, of course, for WE, still on the blue side, they've used their final side selection here in game number 3. It means afterwards, JDG are essentially going to be in control. So far in this series, blue side has been the go-to. It has been the most dominant side by far, considering what we've seen. And JDG now have to rough up against it and change fate again in game 3.
Yeah, I think the key things that we're looking for is just trying to break up some of the counter matchups that they've been shown in the top side. It makes no sense that Pose is able to walk away with the free matchup when he has to reveal what he's going to pick for first. And I think JD Gaming and Coach Home really did underestimate this rookie. They thought how he did in lane didn't matter. They won the game 1 even though Jayce was ahead. They thought they could do it again, running a straight countered matchup in the Vladimir versus the Yorick.
This guy was a big part of that as well. Beishang had an exemplary game number 2 on the Jarvan. 75%. Assuming
kill participation.
Just making sure there, Clement.
Wow, and we might be seeing the 1500 xiye kill in the series happening.
Ooh, okay.
Fans are waving around. They've been a very long-standing duo, the longest-standing carry duo in the LPL between xiye and Mystic.
Yeah, been on this roster for so darn long, and through thick and thin. WE now returning back into favor. The last time they were in playoffs was spring of 2018, and they got knocked out in the first round by RNG. This is their chance to have what people could say could be a miracle run. They'll be going up against RNG if they can win this series.
Yes, it's. I just want to reveal a little bit of our predictions, but both me and Teddy from the Chinese casting side actually predicted W to go all the way in face up against FPX.
Oh,
we
really?
actually think they're better than RNG at this point.
I mean, you and Teddy didn't tell us, so that's absolutely fine.
Yeah, I'm revealing that right now. We do
trailer.
have a playoff preview show coming just a little bit later in our content side, so you can check that up on our YouTube when it is posted. But we give a lot of our thoughts, and we think that WE, there's a lot of chance for Mystic to actually be the MVP this split. He was the best AD carry by far, and when you have someone like Mystic, it's so easy to play around because he gives your team a win condition. The best hyper carry we've likely ever seen in the LPL.
And his ability to recover in this series is showing why he is one of the best, or if not the best, hyper carry. Game 2, playing the exact same matchup, pushing yourself on the Vayne and the Brom in Game 2 again. The fact that it just went so well and that Missing had a better performance too on this Brom.
Yeah, I think his Braum is one of his most played. It actually is his most played.
Yep.
And what we've seen a lot of teams try to do is that they do want to take away at least the Tom Kench when they're going up against Missing. It's so annoying to deal with Mystic without the protection, and then with Devour, it's just too hard to touch him, so they typically just ban that away. Braum has been his most played, and otherwise, he's actually been able to try out a little bit on the mage type of supports as well. Had a couple games on Morgana on the end of the split when it was doing well, so they're a very versatile lane. I love their Caitlyn. I was surprised right there. I love their Caitlyn and Morgana, and I love their Braum plus Vayne.
We'll see what happens because they've played it 2 games in a row. Might be a rinse and repeat, or it might be bottom lane priority in this first pick for WE. Knowing that Lissandra, Silas, Galio, the Zoe banned away from WE, it's 80 carries first.
Ooh, now Imp wants some revenge in the matchup. He's saying, you know what, I can play both sides of this equally as well. The Kai'Sa being selected, we're still a hyper carry, but it has dropped in priority quite a bit in terms of all the other available options. You have Kog'Maw still there. You have a lot of early game strong picks like Kalista still there. So this is not a guaranteed answer that JD Gaming will go for the Vayne. And indeed, they do actually go for something else, picking away the Jarvan, which is Flawless's highest win rate champion at 75%.
Yeah, it really is. Beishang, it's been a priority for him as well. So denying the pick for the jungler of WE. The LeBlanc comes through. We mentioned this post-game 2 that Yagao needed change.
Ah, sweet. And it's not just change, it's chains too. So the LeBlanc is going to do very well with the Jarvan combo. It's actually one of the most common mid-jungle duos we see in the LPL.
Yep.
You lock someone down with the chains, easy follow-up with the EQ combo. So they're just making sure that xiye is going to have no impact whatsoever. Once he pushes past lane, he's very easy pickings. There's very few safe matchups against what JD Gaming is throwing at you now.
I mean, do you go for what Yagao tried in game number 2? Or does that Morgana play flex? Missing has played it, like you said, in that bottom lane, but that does not mean it can be hovered around.
It could also go into the mid lane. We've seen Scout have a great performance on it. Does push in the LeBlanc. Is considered one of the primary counter picks to it. However, I will say that it's not a pick that roams well with the jungle. So with the way JD Gaming like to play, they could very well just show Flawless in the mid lane, take the minion wave, and still roam together. There are ways out of this lane for LeBlanc, even if he can't deck the matchup.
And that's right, gives Yagao maybe that chance of success that we missed out on game 2. JDG, this is wise, considering that post styled on it in game number 2.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised by this. Both sides not really going towards the Urgot whatsoever. Just taking away the Yorick. We expected a little bit of Urgot to showing up in the top lane and the jungle in the LEC.
I don't think we've seen as many transitions as we expected tonight.
Yeah.
From 9.5 to 9.6 to be said.
Yeah, it was actually a very short turnaround. Teams were still playing on 9.5 just 4 days ago, so I think a lot of the tech is going to come out during the semifinals, but probably not in the first round.
Yeah, that's right. So we're sticking to what we know, which is the Jayce banned away. That means there's going to be a couple of new picks here in this game, it looks like, because Zoom doesn't have his cannon. Topside's been the priority. Even the Vladimir, whether it was worthy a ban or not, JDG can't rinse and repeat.
Yeah, I feel like WE are locked into a team comp that is very reliant on formations. Like, the Morgana does not have the greatest of mobility, so I do expect them to pick up something tanky, just try to frontline with it, have more zone control for Mystic to play around.
Yeah.
On JD Gaming side, it's still the name of the game is roaming around priority and initiation. So I think Alistar is a great pick now that the Rakan has been taken off the... No, Rakan's actually still there.
Oh, Rakan is still there. We still don't know where the Morgana's going. They could just end up putting it down the bottom lane in the end anyway.
Okay.
Poppy here for Post, one of his best champions to be noted. That the top laner goes from split push carry to All right, let's tank carry.
Ooh, do you really want to pick against most top laners? I think it's fine, but it's a very bad matchup against the Swain.
That's
so
true.
I think he really needs to take a long, hard look into this.
Look at himself. It's going to be the Poppy. Okay. Well, do we see Zoom's fabled Swain from this?
I think what the Alistar pick was just forcing the Morgana towards the support side, so it should be a mid laner here for WE. And yes, I do think we see the Swain later.
Good,
for sure. But now WE has to go for a... Oh, never mind. They're still going to put the Morgana bot lane, going for a little bit more hyper-scaling carries. Now, this is one of Xiye's best champions.
You baited,
No?
Clement. I'm sorry, but you just got baited.
Yeah, because I want to explain the draft a little. Alistar
Please.
does very well into Morgana in terms of the the ganking patterns, because you need a lot of points in your Black Shield to cancel out the headbutt and the pulverized combination. And so the Alistar really decentivizes the Morgana from going support. They are going to pick it mid. It is a counter pick into LeBlanc. That makes a lot of sense. And now it's JD Gaming, Zoom's idea. How are you going to play against the Poppy? He just goes for the, I would say, the safer option.
Yep. I mean, you know, you said at one point we will hopefully see the Swain. It has always been a staple there for for Zoom. Picking up his Gangplank, it's been another champion that's always been on our minds for the top laner at JDG. And let me just say that Zoom looks upset. You're watching him there before in the play games, he does not look happy. Getting another look, and Post has just been looking the exact same, just in his zone, in a very good mindset, whereas JDG, after what was a shellacking to use in game number 1, WE just hit right back, and this is the WE we expected again. But now coming into game 3, Clement, you explained the drafts a little bit. Yep. It seems like this would not be as cut and dry with the way things are set up.
I think this is the most front-to-back team fight that we've seen them actually select right now. They have plenty of zone-controlled, steadfast presence, the Keeper's Verdict to knock people away, and then they also have the ability of Thresh of putting down the box. So it's very hard to actually get in onto Mystic, and I think that influenced the final draft pick for Gangplank over the Swain. While Swain does have a very good matchup into the Poppy, the Gangplank actually gives you range to hit the backline without putting your face in there first. Yeah. So I think that's the idea. We're seeing the Gangplank just trying to get those explosive chains back onto Mystic. The idea is actually very similar to getting a Vladimir, but it's just a little bit safer in terms of execution. Now, what really has to work for JD Gaming this time around is that they know what they're up against. It's a team fight-centric composition. What they need is Yagao going. Because this comp, when it comes to the 5v5, it's not a very good 5v5 composition.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a lot of fragile elements to it. In terms of tankiness, the Jarvan's not going to win out against the Olaf. The Morgana is going to have much more say than the LeBlanc, and Poppy's just easier to execute than the Gangplank. So team fight-wise, they're not going to find their footing there. They really need this LeBlanc to go up against a counter matchup and score a win.
Plus, you got yourself Mystic on the reverse matchup this time as well. I like the transition of 80 carries, which has been the focus here in this series. Imp's been playing well, so has Mystic, but who plays better when now we have to find ourselves the leader in the series? It is 100% the old manager of Jingdong. Clement, do you not agree? That has to be him. The unique voice, the throat not existing, because if I shout it like that, you just...
I'm not going to pencil it in until I actually see his face on the screen.
Okay, that's fair. But I feel like we're revisiting 2018 Jingdong. Not with style so far, but definitely with the shot calling. Want to point out, before we take a look at runes, I have noticed two things, and this game is mid lane focused. Ooh. Why? Glacial Augment versus Kleptomancy LeBlanc, which we have seen a lot here in the LPL.
So we've seen this matchup when the LeBlanc says, you know what, I really can't kill Morgana. We can't even get a gank off against a Morgana. I'm just going to farm him from gold. It's okay. The thing about this matchup that makes it so hard for the Jarvan chain and the LeBlanc to work is that Morgana can choose to Black Shield the second proc of the ethereal chains coming out from LeBlanc.
Yeah.
She can pick her times, and because half of the damage it's split apart, it's very easy for a Black Shield to get that cancel out.
The Clear Love Express, the gank we saw from EDG, Clement. It's happening again.
All right, is someone going to walk up?
Floor says it's flag and drag. The flash is there. LvMao hits the go button and Mystic is dead. Yeah, I know, I agree. JDG just pull the trigger.
And Clear Love strikes from beyond the series, actually. He's only playing tomorrow, but I think we're seeing him show up today. The creative level 2 gank pathings strikes again. Now, we're saying this because this path is a pretty weird path. You open up your top side, you put yourself in the most corner of the map, so it's very easy to counter jungle against you. However, against an Olaf that is going for a full clear and a fast clear at that, he's going to be fairly low health, so probably not going to be able to do much damage to the Jarvan.
I love the pathing here from Flawless, straight to the red buff to secure it from beishang, but in a 1v1 you still favor the Olaf here with Conqueror on both junglers, the red buff being stolen away, but beishang's coming in red hot.
Yeah, he does have a level lead, but he doesn't see the
he's
red
not
buff.
committing. Smite to Flawless. You would have thought that beishang would have that red buff.
Yeah, well done by Flawless pulling the red buff away. beishang actually was a bit confused right there. I don't think he expected
He was playing very safe for the situation. Speaking of which, LvMao, 2-man headbutt pulverize once again. Bottom lane spicing up, but continue Clement. No, wait, no, not yet. Okay, now continue.
Just taking a look at the runes. We have seen this from other Morganas into the LeBlanc matchup. Just taking the Glacial Augment gives her much better ability in the team fights. You're not really playing for the lane either. And then also taking the cheap shot for a little bit more damage. I actually quite enjoy that rune. You know, you always want to get a little bit more out of the trade when you can finally find someone in the Dark Binding.
That's right. LeBlanc, on the other hand, minion dematerializer, of course. Cosmic Insight being the take-up here, which is the most important mark because you always start with the corrupting potions. So it's a big trade-off, but also a big gain for Yagao as he's just bullying xiye in this lane. You have yourself Sorcery second, and that's a no-brainer. Yeah,
it's just the difference between starting items right here. Corrupting Potion's still a much better starting trade item compared to the Doran's Ring.
Yep.
And that's an interesting LeBlanc build. You don't usually see this LeBlanc build unless it's against the Morgana matchup. There's no damage in his runes whatsoever. It's purely about just scaling.
That's right, and remember as well that you've taken the minion dematerializer when it's gone from 6 to 3. Each individual minion scaling that extra 2% though, so still covering some of the bases and the wave clear that Yagao needs, but with those changes, the minion dematerializer is already gone.
I think it's quite funny that you see Yagao actually using all of his minion dematerializers right off the bat. He's saying, you know what, I'm not going to get the push later on. I might as well just clear my cap space, and hopefully I can get a couple more items from Kleptomancy. You know, I want to carry a lot of items around.
You want the push early. And that makes sense. Ooh, Post. Actually getting forced out here. Zoom just walks into him. Post lets him. That means Post is going to have to stay in lane, but that's okay for now. He has to teleport to return back, but Zoom is proxy farming the wave.
And this is quite fun because it does show you that JD Gaming are very well aware of where this Olaf is on the map. Yep. They're like, you know, I'm completely safe to do this. I'm going to walk behind the tower. So nothing should happen in the bot side either, since they by the rule of elimination, do know that the Olaf is around the section.
Whoever's had the strongest early game has won these games very single-handedly. I mean that by just pure dominance. Already a 1k gold lead here from JDG, and beishang is not behind in the jungle, but he's looking for an avenue top.
Yeah, and he's not spotted actually moving here, though. Zoom knows.
Post won't find the heroic charge. Zoom will know that it's going to be in a 1v2, trying to position around beishang. He's been caught out by the minion wave. Post at half health, and Zoom gets slowed down with the undertow. We'll probably have the flash here. They don't get the barrel, the speed boost as well. Burnt down, beishang will find the summoner of the top laner.
And that's actually really well done by Zoom. He did get the initial slow onto Pose, so Pose really couldn't stick to him, and he's able to walk away with just flashing.
Oh no, for Mystic, we'll take the Dark Passage, but LvMao is consistent upon finding the fight. Mystic takes 1, 2. Imp is coming in here, attacks a minion, and now the Ignite coming down. Mystic finds an auto attack, but Mystic obviously not level 6, but that comes too close for Imp's comfort.
So well done on the counter engage. He drags the duel from JD Gaming through a minion wave and wins out from the trade very, very happily. I don't think they're going to be willing to push their luck here. They just saw the dragon being taken away. That was still very impressive.
Oh my lord, missing. You're just waiting for that minion to die so that it could have gotten caught, but he'll have to back away too in this bottom lane. He got first blood before. There's a bit of gold here on the Vayne, so although Imp was almost forced out, didn't burn any of the summoners, and has the individual gold lead over Mystic.
Missing really is one of those supports that I would be happy playing with him, even if he brought Smite. He's like, yeah, this guy's good enough.
He's fine.
Yeah, we'll let him bring it.
One of his best champions, the Thresh, were expecting to see this, but in game number 3 being the first debut of the series was my biggest surprise tonight.
Yeah, so the Thresh is just protection on protection on protection. It actually does not have a very good matchup into the Alistar.
Yep.
Alistar level 6 goes in on you. You can't do anything as a Thresh. You're just like, is my jungle here? No? Okay, I'm dead.
Oh,
so there's a lot of risk in it, but they're really looking beyond the laning phase and into the team fight for this composition. It's almost impossible to shut Mystic down, and that's the entire idea behind WE.
Yeah, impossible as well at this point to kind of put a dent into him. LvMao has mobility boots. We know how much he likes to roam. Missing has matched that, but for the Thresh and the Alistar, it's going to be a lot more impactful. For now, staying in that bottom lane. This is what they're aiming towards, is getting lane dominance. For someone like Imp, who's going up into a BF sword, Mystic, it looks like his start is going to be more powerful despite the 1 kill.
Yep, it should be. It should still go over to the Vayne, of course. You know, Blade of the Ruin King is a cheaper item overall, and also the sustain does make a big difference. So I do still expect that lane to slightly edge over to JD Gaming afterwards. We're also talking about the mismatch between Alistar and Thresh, where Alistar has a lot more say in that matchup. So I do expect JD Gaming to still have some more control over that. And also, they pretty much outscaled the usefulness of Olaf. Like, what Olaf does very, very well is just secure those bot lane trades. He can run it down there with his Predator, but with the early game coming in from Flawless, this Olaf is looking quite awkward. In teamfights, he's going to have to walk out of a Cataclysm somehow as well. So, I think JD Gaming has negated a lot of the early game potential from WE, and now it's down to taking over the mid game.
He's just been relegated towards power farming as Flawless is going to be called out by a ward here. So Post being the one to drop that down, forced to farm under his turret still. And beishang getting the spot on the J4, starts heading in for the invade. Remember, 14, 15 CS up here is the Olaf. So although we don't get the ganks and the potential that we wanted to see out of WE's early game, we're getting a response at the very least. And a slower early game at that.
Yeah, taking a look at the situation, W should be very careful going into this lane. Now, there is Flawless coming in, and they also have the Cannon Barrage.
And the LvMao turns around, Cannon Barrage does come down, as you mentioned, Missing it low, has the flash, here comes the Cataclysm. They chain it together, Missing is going to die first, but LvMao should be the response as beishang gets low, takes one down, but a 1 for 2. JDG coming up ahead in this early game again.
And that was just not a fight they should have taken right there. They didn't have eyes where Flawless was on the map. They just saw him backing on the top side, so they know that he was coming in full with likely what would have been an item advantage, and they still forced the play anyway. I feel like once they missed this hook, they should have backed out. There was no reason to stay here. Missing does go way too forward just to get the play. And look at that perfect coordination. That Cannon Barrage was so well done. Instantly forces out on all of the flashes. Nothing the Olaf can do either.
They're getting LvMao. The payoff isn't there. Blade of the Ruin King is, though, for Imp. First item. He talked about the 2v2 interaction. It's getting even worse here for WE's bottom lane.
Yeah, that was, I think that's the part where you see Missing actually just being a little bit inexperienced. You can see that was definitely not a play I think someone like Mako or Ming would have tried to make the play right there. And even though the top sides equalized on the teleports, you have to remember, Gameplay can always participate in your bot lane fights.
Yeah, he really can. Zooms is almost up. Post is as well, but it's going to be used for two very different reasons. Post is going to be expected to start joining in some of these skirmishes at 10 minutes in the game. And with a 2k gold lead, a lot of it is on towards that top side. Yagao forced away from being back in his warm, cozy base. And xiye just trying to force out this LeBlanc as well. And again, it's another early game by this time. It's just back and forth.
Yeah.
It's a game of ping pong so far as much as I'm concerned. Hang on, there's a flash there from Yagao. Xiye forces one out of him as well. Yagao's on the wrong side of Summoner's Rift though, Clement.
That interaction was so fast. Xiye instantly flashes forward to pop the Torm.
Oh, he's teleporting. Xiye can't find him blind. Yeah, he's out. Yagao teleports to safety.
That was really well done on both sides. They both knew the limits of this trade.
Oh, that was a weird interaction there from Missing, but he finds an essence. No, he doesn't. It goes wide. Missing has to hold back in. Imp still under the turret, finds a silver bolt. And Imp, again, has the perfect position. Box comes in. Post locks him against the wall, so both 80 carries go down. WE have made a quicker rotation. More members. Xiye forcing Yagao out of lane. This is the cost. With Post getting 2 kills, he pulls himself back into that top lane.
Yeah, ruling to expend the teleport. JD Gaming were very far overextended in that fight, and Mystic just wasted so much time right there. He didn't actually take the Lantern, flashes forward to avoid damage, and then take the Killer Instinct back. That was, even though he fell down, that was really well played right there. He wasted so much time and ability from JD Gaming just to clean up that kill.
I would say it was completely worth it, but the way Zoom's going, there's another part of me that's saying, all right, 30 CS, Yagao, is he going to be caught out? He gets binded in the end, he guided down, dead for dead. That 1-for-1 trade I'm speaking of means that Flawless is the only one left alive. And Xiye can look for the
smite.
binding. Smite's going to come through. Flawless unable to secure it. It's beishang. Post comes on in, gets his 3rd kill of the game. The Poppy in a good position. But WE having scrappy fights.
And nobody expects the roaming Poppy. He stayed around that fight for so long. Flawless thought he was gone. He walks in, he's like, 1v2, I have LvMao on my back. This should be okay. Misses out on the smite and then gives up his life as well.
That's worth missing about 30 CS for in that top lane. Has a bounty on his head as well. Post was a key factor, but Mystic very much so in this fight.
Yeah, it was a really good start from both of these AD carries right here. Mystic tries to go in, tries to actually get the Lantern, but great control ward there. However, they are overextended. I agree with Zoom for not teleporting right here. The best he could do, well, he can't really do anything. And the Poppy is just so strong in this type of a teleporting position.
Yep.
And just look at him. He's still hanging around the play. Comes out of base that, in fact, still to make that happen. We were talking about roamers and how strong LvMao was. Poppy is, and Pose is showing that he can do the same trick as well. As Flawless, you can see, he doesn't actually get the smite. And LvMao's like, you know what? I'm not going to show myself. I'm going to stay here.
I'm not going to die again. There's no way. You saw Post just flashed over the wall. The commitment here from this Poppy, who's now 3-0 in the bottom lane against Zoom, but Zoom has the Trinity Force, so even though things have been going well for the top side here of WE, JDG, they're still very much online. First items across the board, and their early game has definitely dominated this game 3. However, quelled by WE at the 14-minute mark.
Yep, just to take stock of the situation, we're talking about WE having a front-to-back type of protect the AD carry frontline composition. Right now, their AD carry actually doesn't do much damage. Yep. So Pose is going to have to stay there, take a hell of a lot of fire, and just look at Imp's items already. He's very close to getting that Guinsoo's Rage Blade, and he still is ahead about 1,000 gold in this fight. So I do expect JD Gaming to still have a lot more control over the team fights here. I don't think the 3 kills on Pose is necessarily the best kill distribution they wanted, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. You still have a tankier front line. Bounties have changed as well here in this 9.6 patch, so I would see the scaling effect is a bit of a long conversation, which I feel like I'm not going to be able to find as Yagao's come down to help Zoom. beishang's here as well.
Not a 2v2 they can take.
Keep his verdict immediately though. For Post, he's not able to disengage Yagao. Forced out once again. beishang is going to be caught out as well, as Xiye has found himself the electric icy hose. LvMao tagged out as well. Great death sentence. Just has to be unbreakable willed by LvMao.
Very well played. They're going to take full control of the Dragon area, and the next trick is an Infernal as well. So this is very helpful to WE's team composition. Do expect them to try and lock that area down after this.
Yep, bottom side completely clear after Zoom gets this turret. So happy that WE were being proactive, but I'm so concerned about this Gangplank. He'll get this minion wave as well. Yeah, give him more gold.
Yeah, Gangplank is so frightening. Ever since patch 9.5, they did buff the bonus damage he does to champions on the explosive barrels. So if he finds you in the back line, just like one barrel chain is enough to force Mystic out of a team fight.
It's always been so dangerous seeing a Gangplank untouched in the early game, especially here in the LPL. More skirmishes, more resources given over. That's a Caulfield's Hammer and Serrated Dirk picked up after that last back for Zoom. He's level 11. Cannon Barrage going to have that extra bit of spike. Infernal Dragon that you talked about before is coming up, and Zoom is going straight back down to that bottom lane, where they know that WE now on the top side, as LvMao's just been caught out, has to headbutt Xiye back. He's into ultimate form, or rather he doesn't have it there as they're trying to lock him down after he flashes and everything lands, every bit of CC as Yagao gets ulted on by a Mystic. The last shot going to come through, but Yagao's still alive. Yeah, Xiye, his 1500th kill of the LPL.
Moves to rank 7 in history of the LPL. That was so well played by Missing. He actually finds the initial pick and then gets the flay onto Yagao to allow Mystic to follow up on that trade. Luckily enough for JD Gaming, it won't actually impact back their Infernal Drake chances. They still have chances for Yagao to get back on the map in time.
For WE, they'll be able to react to this play. There's a lot of warding around the pit itself. They've spotted out Flawless as he attempts to enter the river. Still a Rift Herald here on the Jarvan. Where is he going to put it? Because it's timing out, and we don't want to see one of these flimsy Rift Heralds from J4. He's in the mid lane right now, so expect to see that to break down the outer turret.
Now, I do expect JD Gaming to try play a fork here. They're going to drop the Herald and then move towards the Drake, forcing W to deal with one or the other. Both sides would be quite good for JD Gaming, and I think what Missing is going to try and do here is actually try to keep tabs on Flawless, try to see if he can actually get him out of the channel.
Yeah. Flawless has been fearless in this series, to be fair.
Oh, he's always fearless. The outcomes are just up for debate.
Not always great, yeah. Here we go. Rift Herald finally coming down, going to be dropped to the mid lane. You can see that WE already moving towards it, but Rift Herald for Infernal Dragon. WE, there's no way they can contest, and that's what they're saving it for. Good trades here from JDG.
Exactly as expected. This is a really well played. They get the Infernal Drake for 0 risk, and now they even have the flanking potential from Yagao. It's not 20 minutes, so he doesn't have the home guards yet, but he does have good teleport anchor points. The entire right side of the jungle does belong to JD Gaming.
Got his first item almost towards the second there as well. Look at the CS difference. Through the mid, it's shaped up nicely. The bottom lane has been okay, although the Vayne with kills, but the top side of the map here for JDG still just farming away. And where is little Zoomies? He's joined up with the rest of the team. He has a Youmuu's Ghost Blade. That's a 2-item gangplank at 18 minutes in the game.
I love the term Zoomies. What I love about his build right here is that he has 35% CDR already. And a lot of times when we see W actually setting up for anything, Cannon Barrage, and it's over. It doesn't actually matter. He had that for one wave when they found the pick onto Yagao and LvMao, and then the ultimate is still up again. He's currently sitting at over plus 2,200 gold on his opponent laner. Post even has 3 kills. It doesn't even matter.
Yeah, it really doesn't. The Poppy hasn't been able to sit in this lane without getting harassed, aggressed on. Zoom untouched. And for WE, they don't want to put any resources towards this bottom lane. They want to let this 1-3-1 sit out, fill out. The Zoom's having a great time. Yagao's now on a side lane. This is the JDG we know and love. Set up that 1-3-1, set up the side lanes, and wait until your items come into fruition. Then play that scattered fight that we keep calling a mosh pit.
Yeah, JD Gaming definitely have that online. And the more I look at this game flank pick, the more I actually favor it over the Swain. I think they recognize how difficult it is to walk in onto Mystic's composition with the amount of slows that they have on the way. Xiye with the Glacial Augment, and of course the box going down as well. So they're going to circumvent that completely. It's actually very difficult for WE to play the barrel game with the game flank. They don't have a lot of range, and a lot of those auto attacks are very, very slow. You talk about Morgana's projectile, that's a slow one. Thresh doesn't really have the range, and Poppy wants to use the buckle. That's also a very long wind-up animation as well. So I do expect Zoom at the very least to be able to hold the majority of his team's damage this game.
You were hoping that Mystic could find a lead here in this game so that the gangplank would be less and less of a factor. Mystic still just picks up his first item while Imp, where are you? You're in the mid lane. So you're going to have Gwynsu's Rage Blade next back for sure. There's just so much gold that's been given over early to Imp. JDG, they're in a gold lead of 3,000 gold, but it's been kept quiet as WE have slowed down the pace of the game. Baron's up now as well.
And I will say there's a lot more pressure on W this time around. This is their last and final side selection game.
True.
JD Gaming's going to be able to go on whichever side they please in games 4 and 5.
I mean, they'll just go blue side by the look of this series.
Well, I think they actually go red. I think they've learned their lesson in game 2.
That's very fair. Missing, getting close to Yagao. Pick potential still there, but yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe we do see the red side prioritized here for JDG.
Yeah, for JD Gaming, it's been much more about the individual lanes carrying them through rather than just picking holistic compositions. And I think for WE, they're much more onto the track of just strong picks, strong composition. That's usually how the blue and red side differentiate themselves. The blue side is always wants to, they have the first 3 picks essentially. They can build their comps a little bit easier, while the red side has more laning say as they can pick the counters.
Definitely been quite the opposite here for JDG. Poke underneath turret, gangplank ulti there. Beishang walking away, not going to contest, and The mid lane inner still or outer rather still available for both teams. It's slowing down this game. No ability to really counteract these other side lanes where you have so much room, both top and bottom lane. But mid is just at a deadlock.
I feel JD Gaming is actually quite happy to just farm this one out.
That's true.
Like, the Gangplank late game, oh, if he gets to the full items,
He hasn't been stopped now. Why would he be stopped then?
It's almost always near one-shot potential against the AD carries. Like, you get the barrel, you can flash and Q, and Mystic's probably dead.
And look at how many damage threats you have to deal with. LeBlanc, Gangplank, Vayne. Whereas the damage threat's quite simple there. You're looking at xiye, but he's playing a very supportive role with the Glacial Augment Morgana. xiye going to be half health here, and that's what I'm talking about. Looking for the pick potential. You can't find the 1v1 against Yagao.
Yeah, Morgana not that great out of lane. I think there's a lull in how Morgana's play is that she can win a lot of lanes, but then she's quite quiet on the roams, and then you see her show up in the team fights again. What JD Gaming have recognized is that they do have the better side lanes at this point, and they're willing to push it quite far.
Absolutely are. Side lanes continue to keep playing on this distance as Cloud Dragon's up. Yeah, let's get it, JDG. Why not? Paul's going to pull it out, re-engage, and this is an absolute freebie.
And that does look like a Spear of Shojin coming out from the game click as well.
Oh, okay. Pop the ulti. Q someone, Q someone, Q someone.
Get more barrels.
Q someone, barrels, Q someone again. We'll see that interaction in a second. xiye getting the response back with the ulti Yagao, but the 1v1 is still there. Well, flash from beishang making something happen. Yagao not comfortable on the side wave. He does flash away from the undertow. Will he survive? Yagao not long enough. That tormented shadow from xiye. I wonder if he put that there after or before.
I think he definitely put that, probably before that. But that was still quite a show on from Yagao. Put on his dancing shoes. Did actually fool out the initial trade coming in from beishang. Let's watch that again. Now Yagao did get the initial early trade. He instantly pops his ultimate just to get the stun down. And this Q is so crucial. I can't believe he found that dark binding. And look at how what Yagao's doing here. It was kind of an interesting bait just to get him that way.
He put it back down, and it looks good. It looks good for WE right now. It's missing against the flash out. We've just gone into the full fight, Clement. I don't know what year it is, but I'll tell you what, it's 2029 as teleport comes on in. Yagao ready to face the might. WE back away. That was quick. Hang on. beishang might be dead. The chains won't land. Floors is just... Ooh, hello. Yeah, you're dead. Zoom. Parlay. Not sure the pirate heard of the word. Zoom going to walk up to him as well. WE going from left to right here, back to the left-hand side. Disengage. The party's begun and stopped at the same time.
Yeah, so W are getting a little bit impatient on the map. They haven't been able to break this mid-game tower, so they go for a straight tower dive after the death of Yagao. But it looks like it was a little bit ill-timed. We didn't get to see the start of the fight, but what happened was W actually broke up their composition very soon after they got the initial kill, so they couldn't fight after that one.
Yeah, we'll take a look again because it started with the Glacial Augment and xiye. Yeah, getting the lockdown.
That was so clutch coming in by missing, getting the initial death sense, but look at them fighting under tower. LvMao's in, just mixing things up, and they aren't able to finish off the kills. Once the players are scattered, they're easy pickings for JD Gaming coming in, so JD Gaming actually equalizing the initial death from Yagao.
beishang the last part of the snack box there for JDG. Gold still at 3,000, however, so you say that, yeah, that was such a big fight coming out of nowhere, but nothing really amounts to it. We go back to normal. We go back to these side lanes. Yagao's looking for a new party. The old one, he said, was boring. And Zoom, sitting in a side lane, you wanted Spear of Shojin. I'm going to let you down.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting. You typically never build Spear of Shojins on the game.
Probably wouldn't, no. Oh, hello, Yagao. What are you doing, you cheeky rascal? JDG playing around this LeBlanc, just moving between vision. Still unable to get the turret, but pushing waves in, keeping pressure up.
You know, want to see if Mystics does the Sino Dragon roam where they try to find kills onto the side lanes. It's a great answer to 1-3-1 compositions. If Kai'Sa gets a crowd control, she can fly in from 3,000 range and instantly finish off the kills. So that's something that I feel like Mystics should be trying to do a little bit more. I feel like xiye can hold the mid lane by himself, and they really need a little bit of help in that bottom.
He's in a very good position right now as well. The Zill's been picked up. Colonel, champion. Has he got new glasses on? I feel like he's got new glasses.
Those are just his eyes.
No. I think those are playoff glasses.
Ooh, playoff shades.
Yeah, almost as sparkly as how Post has been glittering for the past 3 minutes. Look at him. It's magic right there. As I was saying before I got sidetracked by the captain of KFC, Mystic almost towards those 3 items. So right now you're saying, hey, you know, like compare him to him. After that last fight and the way that he's been sitting in this mid lane, farming up a storm, he's now ahead. 30 CS the lead here for Kai'Sa. And this is a testament to how Mystic's been playing the split so far. It's good to see him back in control in the lane that we expected him to win hard from game 1.
That's very surprising. Like, his laning phase did not go well whatsoever.
No.
Killed 2 times in lane, first tower to go down, and now he's actually found a 30 CS lead. Now, this is something that WE does very well, is that their top lane almost gets no resources.
Yep.
Like, when they were playing with 957 back at Worlds in their semifinal run, pretty much the top lane got the same amount of farm and gold as a jungler on other teams. It was very, quite painful being a top laner on WE. But this is what they found victory on. They said, you know what? The offensive items, just the ability to get stats in multiple categories is so much more beneficial than spreading it across multiple members. Yep. So that's been the philosophy for the LPL for a long, long time. And they're willing to accelerate their AD carries to make their team fight stronger.
And it's not like he's sacrificing anything, because the Gangplank was always going to find himself ahead. By about 60 CS is a big margin, but still Zoom is in such a comfortable place. Xiye went to the side lane, matched Yagao, who's only about 10, 15, maybe 20 CS behind. Mystic finding himself ahead. Hasn't sacrificed too much here for WE, but of course they're losing their side lane. And Yagao, Zoom, it seems like them versus Mystic is perfect once again. Game 3. Didn't think we'd get this far, but it's a perfect storyline to push towards that 30-minute mark.
And W are finally getting to that point where they're 5v5 comp.
Whoa. Wow, that's a respect flash there from Flawless. Wasn't comfortable escaping by walking distance. A big flash like that could mean only one thing. Is that mid turret finally going to fall?
Oh, finally. It's been such a long time.
No,
Maybe not.
yet. Maybe too overconfident. Xiye will put the Black Shield onto himself. Yagao back over to the distortion. The teleport's there, but Binding's a little bit too quick on the trigger. Zoom is level 16, but so is Post, who has to teleport himself.
Yeah, that's a very frightening Zoom at this point. Just checking how these teams are positioning around the map. Post does still have his teleport, so W should be willing to just keep on shoving these waves in.
They started Baron. There's going to be a quick one as well. JDG, Cloud to finally engage. LvMao waiting for the flank.
This is a really risky situation for JD Gaming. They don't want to walk into this.
Or is it worse for WE because the flanks come in. Yagao comes in, Cataclysm there as well. And final has been Brock Xiye to slow them down, but Flash has burned multiply. Post in for Zoom. He wants the Gangplank. He finds him, but the fight's already over. Missing dropping down means Baron number 2 is coming up.
Yeah, W still have a lot of fighting strength in them left, though. They have their front line and their AD carry intact, so they are going to try and at least force JD Gaming off of this.
Teleport's there, that's the mid lane, and they might just give up Baron, but Mystic and Xiye coming back in. Post going head first, they don't spot LvMao until now. He gets bombed on back, slow is Yagao, into the middle of the pop. He survived long enough, but eventually gets taken down by the Vayne. Mystic in bad positioning, has to flash. It gets free roam. She does get a 4-man route, but at that point, it's too late. JDG took full control of the fight, and now the Baron is theirs.
And that just turned its head in an instant. I thought W was able to make it towards the Baron if they had Post walking in front of them. However, it was missing. That took the brunt of the initial burst coming in from JD Gaming, and they're able to find pick after pick into Baron.
When Imp is untouched, when the Vayne gets free roam in a team fight, often you'll see it happen like that. And this was a good effort here from WE, but JDG through control by LvMao.
Yeah, this was the 5v4 already, and LvMao just waiting his spots, picking the correct situations to go in on. He's just so good on those initiation champions. Xiye does not have the Zhonya's, so once he goes in, not really any retreat path, tries to create space for his team.
A little bit of damage, good hook there from Missing. We're going to find another engagement. Zoom has to flash away underneath the turret. Cannon Mirage comes in, but the damage is too much. Missing tanks it enough, and no one's going to die as a response. Hang on, beishang! Beishang! Oh! Thank you, stopwatch. WE's jungler survives. Mystic also gets the turret, and they get Zoom. But at the cost of their mid lane turret and the growing wave. Look at that. Double cannon mid. Xiye needs to be there. Someone needs to respond.
Yeah, they'll definitely have to go back and defend this. That was a really big bounty going over to Mystic, actually. So I think W should be quite happy with that play. They also take away the split pushing pressure. There's not really anyone that is like Zoom that can get out of crowd control. So they're effectively dealing with only 2 Baron minion waves on JD Gaming's side now.
That's right. One in the mid lane, one in that towards that top lane as well for WE, getting them pushed down on the bottom side means we're going to have to see someone respond to it eventually. Not quite hitting the turret as well. Flawless level 15. Not really mattering at this point. Java's already done so much in this game. JDG still ahead by 6,000 gold. Still the momentum in their favor, but 1 Baron doesn't seem like it's going to be enough to take this game. And a gold lead of 6,000 still doesn't feel okay.
Yep.
At this point.
It's not comfortable enough for... Ooh.
Especially when you keep getting picks like this.
However, you have to remember that the EQ combo, because it's not technically a movement ability, you can just go away from the Morgana whenever you want.
Especially when you got 3 items, good block there by Pose. You're going to be chained down, however, Yagao. That's a big duration. Hammer shock to the ground. Pose sparkles his way out of there, but Yagao Zoom again, this 1-3-1 walking over WE. Doesn't seem like there's much they can do about it, especially when Yagao has that Duskblade of bloody Drakthar.
Yeah, it's so hard to deal with that. He can scout out the wards being placed as well, so he's going to have great jungle control. JD Gaming are playing this 1-3-1 to the absolute limit. They're already knocking on all 3 inhibitor towers at this point. And if a 1-3-1, all 3 lanes get across river, they're going to take something.
A 1-3-1 with Baron buff, we know how oppressive it can be, how annoying it is to deal with if you're the enemy team. Mystic just roaming from lane to lane, picking up resources. Now has the Infinity Edge, so able to block away most of these minions, able to clear and have kill threat at the same time. Whereas Imp, still that half item behind. Okay, Baron's going down.
Missing.
Big Kai'Sa, yeah, he does find the flank onto Zoom. We know he's going to die, and it's going to be Mystic who dies with him. They kill each other. Zoom shredded that Kai'Sa.
How is that possible? That was like 2 seconds, and he instantly killed Mystic. Where did Mystic go? Nobody expected that kill trade to actually go down.
And because Mystic died, it means that Teleport's going to come through. JDG might look to end the game, Clement. They've jumped on Deposu, who has to heroic charge out. The Death Sentence doesn't land, but Imp is hitting the Nexus. Into the final hour, the Poppy ult misses as well. JDG want to put a close before WE start finding their way back in, and they may have done it onto the second Nexus turret. Now Floor's getting low, get bopped on out. Imp is alive, however, and this is the Vayne you want to see from Imp. Yagao jumps on him too, goes golden, but xiye is going to put the puddle down, knocked on down. Yagao still alive. beishang gets chained. He's burning, he's burning, he's burning, but he lives. And the Nexus on the way out, he still dies.
The cannon minion actually finishes Yagao on the way out. Revenge for Team WE. That was down to the wire. If that Olaf fell down and LeBlanc was still there, Yagao could have very well just cleaned up that game.
Open Nexus, sparkly Poppy to show the commemoration of that big all-in. The scrappy fights from JDG. Once again, Clement.
That was super close. Just looking at that, remember it's a 4v4 situation. Imp does start, but they actually take a lot of damage on these towers right here. Keeper's Verdict doesn't land, and I want to see how Pose actually falls down in this fight. A lot of time wasted here by Yagao as he goes in golden, and Imp looks like he's free-firing until he is spotted out by the Olaf. And I don't think Imp should have tried to walk back close to the situation. It was 3 people with very low health who could have picked up the Olaf one by one, but wanted to go for the potential game win and finishing those kills off. And in the last time, Caster Minions MVP this game.
Yagao has been playing a great LeBlanc though.
Yes.
Mechanically, his LeBlanc is one of his best. That's why we talk about Zoe, LeBlanc with Yagao. Individually, this man is on fire. 4 items on the LeBlanc. Yagao is a menace. And JDG have one more stop before making him victorious here in this game number 3. If JDG can pick up this game, there'll be a match point against WE to knock them out in round 1.
And what a upset that would be. JD Gaming coming in at the 8th seed, losing multiple series to come into playoffs, and also having a suffering a dominating defeat from W on the very last series of regular season, are now going to reverse their fortunes. I really didn't see this coming over, and I feel like JD Gaming had a better understanding of how the series was actually going. We saw WWE, after winning with their tempo game lead, going back to the team fight composition, going back to countered lanes, and JD Gaming just ran away with it, especially with that level 2 gain coming in from Flawless.
They really did, and they've done enough here in this game number 3 to make it look like a win. Elder was just picked up moments ago, only 2 minutes 30 on the buff, but Baron is up as well. The double epic bonus buff is what I'm going to call it this time around, because JDG zoning away WE, and this is already dead, it looks like.
Yeah, W are not even going to contest this. They have both inhibitors lost in the mid and top, so not much they can really do here.
Oh, Yagao in for the flank, in for a penny, in for a pound, missing, takes one, expecting the distortion to go back. LeBlanc level 18, and although LvMao is locked on down, but JDG is giving them more time with his 10k gold lead to push this side lane, push that open inhibitor, and look for the Nexus.
I think it's even an open Nexus, right? There's probably only one inhibitor. Yeah, there's only one Nexus tower right here.
No, there's no Nexus turrets left. Gimp took it down in the last lane. Nexus is exposed, like you mentioned. JDG onto beishang, who gets quarter health. Yagao gets flayed back onto the supporters. LvMao finds Mystic. WE have lost their main damage source, and it's Zoom again, who's just shooting barrel after barrel. Imp tumble after tumble, and JDG one more step to knocking out WE and going to verse RNG.
No side selections left for WE. This might be the biggest upset here. We thought WE were going to be the story of the year, but now they are facing at a potential defeat coming at the hands of JD Gaming. Really, that game plank pick, even though he wasn't taking the Kleptomancy, that was still a bank plank for sure.
Oh my. The fact that xiye did more damage than those individual lanes and the most fed members is a testament to how hard he tried to bring this game back for WE.
Yeah, but there's not much he could do. The JD Gaming never really gave him a 5v5 team fight scenario, and the bot lane and top lane were just so far behind that JD Gaming very comfortably ran away with the 1-3-1 composition. I do think that both teams need to realize that this series has all been about the laning situation. Yeah, whoever's won the laning phase has just taken this, smashed this game wide open, and I think it might not be that worth it to be playing for the kind of immobile type of compositions.
Well, you know, you bring that point up. It's all been about the early game, just to be, you know, like more general. That the early game has been what has dominated through both series. JDG held strong, and it was the Jarvan again, which seems to be a reoccurring effect here in this best of 5.
Yeah, Jarvan is just so good against the Morgana. That specific interaction where he cannot be stopped when he goes in with the flag and drag combo really makes life pretty hard for the Morgana. And I hope WE can rebound from this. I hope that they can, at least for W, I felt like one thing that didn't happen that we thought was kind of a done deal is that they didn't actually win their bot lane that much.
Yeah, beishang has not paid that much attention to the bottom lane.
Yeah, we were really surprised about that. We thought that it was going to be top versus bottom type of game, and there would be no scenario where JD Gaming could actually win both lanes at the same time. But it seems like Imp, for me, has really woken up. Like, his play has been very clean, and it's at the level where it's much higher than he was at regular season. He's actually stepping up to Mystic quite well in these matchups, and LvMao as well with Rakan and Alistar. He's just playing on another level too. So
that's looking good.
It's kind of interesting because WE, we look at their stats, they always had that winning early game, especially their bot lane. That has not been true in this matchup whatsoever. I do want to see them dig deep into their pockets for a little bit of diversity and at least pick a kind of lockdown winning lane for bot.
You'd hope that you see Mystic and Missing perform to the level that they did at the end of the split. The win streak itself has dropped, and for WE, they now face elimination in round 1 again. It's not RNG this time, it's JDG. Game 4 is coming up to give us an answer right after this.